The Princess and the Pea. Once upon a time, there was a prince who wanted to marry a princess. But not just any princess. There were plenty of princesses, but not one of them was quite right. He asked all his most trusted courtiers, "How can I find the right princess? One who is a true princess, right to the very tips of her toes." One suggested a test of intelligence, another to examine the quality of tailoring in her dresses, yet another the styles of their hair. But the prince remained unconvinced. There must be a way to tell the true, good-hearted princesses from the pretenders, he thought. He traveled all over the world looking for the perfect one, but returned home sad and disappointed. One evening, a fierce storm broke over the kingdom. Lightning flashed, and thunder boomed, and rain just poured down. The whole palace had been trapped indoors for most of the day, very bored. The prince had gone to bed to read a good book, but his mother, the old queen, stayed up sewing. Some of the stitches were a bit uneven, where a particularly noisy thunderclap had made her jump. Here's a picture of the princess. Suddenly, between the claps of thunder, a loud knock was heard on the castle gate. The old queen sent her butler to see who on earth could be calling at this time of night. The butler, rather flustered, rushed out to answer the knocking. When he swung the great gate open, there, in the rain, stood a girl, soaked from head to foot. Water streamed down her hair and her clothes. "I am Princess Louisa," she shouted above the patter of raindrops. "I was out for a walk this evening and I got caught in the storm. Perhaps I could take shelter here for the night." Well, she didn't look much like a princess, but the kind old butler couldn't leave her out there in such horrible weather. He invited her into the grand hall of the castle and, feeling rather flustered, introduced her to the queen, who told her to sit before the fire. "She looks more like a drowned rat," thought the old queen, "but we'll find out if she's a real princess quickly enough." Aware of her son's fruitless search for a true princess, she had devised her own test, which she was sure would work. She hurried to the guest room and took all the bedclothes off of the bed, and then on the bare bedstead she put one little dried pea. On top of the pea she put 20 mattresses. And on top of the mattresses she put 20 down quilts, nice and soft and squishy. That was the bed on which the princess had to sleep. The queen rushed back down to where the princess was slowly but surely drying off by the fire. "Your bed is ready for the night," she said. "We like to make our guests very comfortable." When the princess saw the bed she was to sleep on, she could hardly believe her luck. Why, she was going to have the best night's sleep ever. "Thank you. It's very kind of you," said the princess. "I'm sure I shall sleep very well in that bed." "Well, we'll see," the queen thought to herself, but all she said was, "Good night." The princess changed out of her wet clothes and into the nightgown that had been laid out for her. She was feeling very sleepy. She climbed up to the top of the 20 mattresses and down quilts and flopped, quite exhausted, right into bed. She closed her eyes gratefully, ready to fall asleep, but no matter how much she wiggled around trying to get comfortable, she couldn't. She tossed and turned, having just the most dreadful time. After a while, she thought she must be going mad, It felt as if there was something small and hard just pressing right into her back. Surely all of those soft down quilts and mattresses should make it the most comfy place in the whole world to sleep. Have a look at that bed with 20 mattresses and all of those quilts. She had to take a ladder to get all the way to the top of that, didn't she? You think you'd be able to feel the pea all the way underneath it? Next morning, when the old queen asked how she had slept, she felt a bit nervous. After all the queen's kind hospitality, should she admit what had really happened? She sure didn't want to offend the queen, but she didn't like to lie either. So she replied, "Terribly, I'm afraid. I hardly slept a wink. I know it sounds silly, and I don't know what was in that bed, but it felt as if there was something hard underneath the mattresses, and it just kept me awake all night long." The old queen smiled. "Come along, my dear, and have some breakfast." Now they knew she was a real princess, since she had felt the pea through 20 mattresses and 20 down quilts. She was sure that only a real princess could be so sensitive. When the prince came down to breakfast that morning, he was rather surprised to find a beautiful stranger sitting at the table. When his mother told him all about the test and that she had found him a true princess, he was just delighted. He fell in love with her almost instantly, and she was just as sensitive, true, and kind-hearted as the test had shown. So the prince married the princess, and the pea was exhibited in the Royal Museum. You can go there and see it if you don't believe me. There's a picture of the pea on the pillow. I hope you enjoyed that story, and come back next time for a different one. Let me know if there's something special that you would like me to read. Bye-bye.